right, so welcome, Nikki. So today we're gonna talk about such an exciting topic on parallel reality. And the synchronicity of it is that literally this morning I woke up and in that maybe 3 seconds I caught a glimpse of my parallel reality. And I was like, oh, like I had like the entire goosebump. And it's just literally split second. And I was like, oh, can we have more? But I'm already awake because I do get a lot of my activation and download through dreams. And those who have been listening to this podcast would know. And it's just such an amazing synchronicity that on that very same day, I'm going to have a chat with you, this beautiful soul, talking about exactly that. So I'm
Amazing.
curious to know, how does this concept land on you? Like, what happened?
Sure. I also have to share that I would love to hear what the glimpse was when you woke up this morning, because that's where the magic is. That's where the juice is. It's what we actually experience. But to answer your question, and I was thinking about it before we started, I was thinking, what am I going to share when it comes to parallel realities? And what is, because it's quite difficult to explain. And a lot of people, when they hear you talking about parallel realities, they're like, it's more of a concept than it is a reality. And I used to talk about timeline shifting and multiple timelines. That was my first sort of dip into and dive into the experience of parallel realities. And at that stage, I was running a program. It was called I'm a Magnet, and I was facilitating. And when I run a program, as I'm sure it is the same with you, it's just I allow whatever flows through to flow through. And when I was running an activation, the energy of multiple timelines dropped in. So I'm starting there because it's slightly different to the energy of parallel realities, but so connected. And it felt as if it literally dropped into my cells and into my body. And I just had this deep understanding of these multiple timelines. It's almost as if I could see them, but I couldn't see them. It was more of a knowing. And in that moment, I felt an energetic shift in my body. And I actually heard a pop in my lower back,
Mm-hmm.
and a back problem that I'd had for years and years and years and years and years, in that moment was gone. And I knew that it was because I was now connecting into another timeline. And shortly after that, ran a program called Tapping into Timelines, which was just a 10-day program. It was 10 activations to tap into your different timelines. But what I realize now, looking back and having had a deepening of that, is that I was still seeing the timelines as, so we have multiple timelines. So the gift of multiple timelines and really being able to embody that we have multiple timelines is it takes the pressure off. If you are heart centered, if you want to be of service, if you feel like you have a mission in this lifetime, if you're that kind of a person, then generally, often you are searching, you are seeking, and you're trying to find the most abundant path, the path where you're going to be the most impactful, where you're going to be able to, offer the most service to humanity. And for me, anyway, it was definitely a case of, am I on the right path? Am I on the right
Mm-hmm.
path? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And then you go into overthinking. And so, what multiple timelines did, it created the energy of joy and play, because there are multiple timelines, multiple paths. There's not one
Like a
purpose,
buffet.
one path. Exactly. So, that was the first introduction to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was probably about 8 months ago, maybe a year. Time, hey. And then earlier this year, I also experience a lot of my activations and alchemy and downloads while I'm sleeping
Mhm.
or when I'm daydreaming. So that those are the two, more than when I'm actually sitting in conscious meditation and trying to meditate. It comes to me normally when I'm dreaming. And I had a glimpse, but it was more than a glimpse. It was a complete immersion into a
Mhm.
parallel reality. And the embodiment of that was that I got to feel who I am at a very deep level. It was like nothing I've experienced before. So if I look back at my journey, I've had various moments of, let's call it spiritual awakening,
Mhm.
deepening, which for me is actually alchemy. It's energy shifting. And one instance, as an example, is when I started working with the elements fire, air, earth, and water. And when I started working with the elements, I experienced alchemy. I had energetic shifts in my body that literally changed the reality of what was happening in my world. That was one instance. I would say starting to work with multiple timelines is another instance where I'm now tapping into alchemy. And the parallel reality for me at each of those times is a deepening and understanding of who I am. It's an embodiment, a deepening of, this is me.
Mhm.
This is me. Oh, wow. It's like I'm meeting myself for the first time. But the parallel realities is like nothing I've experienced before. It, I thought I had met myself for the first time 6 years ago with elemental alchemy. This was just, I don't know how to explain it. It's really, really, really feeling completely at home with who I am,
Mhm.
completely and deeply at peace, seeing myself through, I don't know what lens to describe it. It's not even seeing myself, it was being myself. So I know I'm all over the place, but I had beautiful green and blue tattoos as an example. I had a nose ring, but it wasn't about what I looked like physically. I was so comfortable in my physical body. I was just moving with such grace. My husband was there, and the connection that we had in this parallel reality was so deep. We were so comfortable with each other. I was so comfortable with who I am that everything was just completely in flow. I started seeing colors first, the energy of the parallel reality, the frequency of the parallel reality, and then that crystallized into the actual physical reality.
Mhm.
And when that happened, so when I woke up, I knew it wasn't a typical dream. I knew that this was me. This is me. The realization I had was that depth of who I am is in every parallel reality. So that's what holds each parallel reality together is your essence and your embodiment. It is you in every, it's not a future you. And this is the difference between the timelines and the parallel reality is the timelines I was still seeing it as a timeline, as a place I need to get to, whereas the parallel reality was this understanding that it is really here. It is really you. It's not a future you. It's here, it's now, it's you. And after that experience, I just started intentionally asking, okay, let's more parallel realities drop in. Let me start accessing the parallel realities. And what's happening is that my physical world, my actual reality, like right now,
Mhm.
is starting to shift. So my relationship with my husband, as an example, is deepening and deepening and deepening.
Mhm.
And I, having experienced this joy of who I am now being in the joy of who I am. I know you get it. I know you get it. Not necessarily everyone gets it. So that was a long story. Does that sound crazy?
Crazy enough for people to love it. So thank you. It's beautiful and it's amazing because that's exactly what I'm gonna ask you actually. I was also pondering on the exact same question yesterday. And I will say, well, I can't say we got into the same conclusion, but it sounded similar. So my version of it was exactly it's like it will sound like I'm copy pasting, but I'm not. Same thing, I teach quantum manifesting as well for my visionary women clients. And, we did quantum manifesting working on the highest timeline, I call it. And similarly, the experience I have with timeline is that when I'm in it, I'm always seeing something in front of me. So
Right.
it's almost now, I want those who are listening to understand that this is not like the one definition. We are just sharing our experience. It might be totally different for you. So it's not like this is the holy Bible, so to speak. But my experience with timeline is as well. I guess it's because of the word itself or something that there is just still this mental construct of time, although that is not what it actually means, but it's just our mind getting in the way. So when I was working with timeline, I was usually seeing this most vibrant, aligned higher self that is in front of me, but it's still in front of me. And
Yeah.
it's beautiful because it allowed me to see the possibility. And I guess it's probably appropriate for where I was in the journey because or for most people actually, because we must first start by seeing a possibility, right? Otherwise, like if we can't see the possibility, then it's like what's the point of doing all this? At least the human mind thinks that way, right? So we want to see all that beautiful stuff. So that's like my experience working with timeline, and it's amazing. I do have a shift and things like that, but it still somewhat feels like I constantly need to get to the next timeline and the next timeline, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And then, like,
Yeah.
am I there? In your words, is am I on the right path? In my word, is like, are we there yet? So are we still not there? And so that's kind of like how I experience with timeline, and it's beautiful. And I still work with timeline, by the way. It's just that like I chance upon this parallel reality, which is your meditation actually that I'm gonna share in the link below. It's called quantum leaping into your most powerful parallel reality. I think that's the title. So check it out, guys. It's amazing and fantastic. Yeah, so I did the meditation, I guess few months ago. I can't remember when I exactly found you. And then, I started to see colors initially, just and I saw a lot of mint pastel green color. And then I didn't exactly see things. I'm not that clairvoyant. I'm more a feeling and knowing kind, but I do see those stuff. But then I was still kind of like exploring, right? And then, as I was sharing earlier, then last night or this morning, I woke up with that glimpse, and I saw it looks like from an animation movie. Like I just saw my face multiple like 100 times. It looks like those
Wow.
effects you saw on reels, that kind. I just saw
Yeah.
that, and the biggest difference I felt was that was me now. Like I think literally what I'm feeling, if we were to use a linear way, although it's not linear and there's no time, but the feeling is that this is now. Like this,
Yes.
all of this 100,000 me that I saw is all me right now, existing right now, happening now. As opposed to when I'm working with timeline, I'm like seeing this distant future, if you may, which is exactly what you share, which is why I was like, okay, this is gonna sound like copy and pasting, but this is exactly what I experienced as well. And yeah, but having said that, I also wanna let people know to play around whether you want to work with timeline or parallel reality or both. There is no one way better than the other. It's just kind of which part of the journey you are in and what will best serve you at this point. So at this point of the conversation, obviously we both, me and Nikki, are very into parallel reality. So, and if you are listening to this, maybe you are also drawn to this for some reason. So try out the meditation and see if you like it or not, and how you want to continue from there. Yeah, is there anything you want to add on pertaining to the difference between timeline and parallel reality, just so that people maybe have a little bit more on logical understanding, if you may, although it's really hard to put into logical explanation?
It is. And I think I'm fascinated that you came to the same conclusion and had a very similar experience. I think it's beautiful. And I think that you can, so for me, just the words parallel realities, so just the word realities, I think it's just an anchoring into the truth that it is a reality, whereas the timelines
Mm-hmm.
is the linear time. And
Mm-hmm.
exactly as you said, it's okay for us to, if we're more comfortable with seeing it as a step ahead and connecting to linear time, because we are on the planet as human
Mm-hmm.
beings and operating in the construct of time, we get to experience time and be in time. That is our reality. But we have the gift to so both access that and then also tap into the parallel realities. And so you could work with timelines, but still feel the now energy that you were describing, that it is here now, that the future you, who is deeply at peace, who is fully expressed, who is joyful and happy, that version of you hold all of those qualities now. And so
Mm-hmm.
that may be a stepping stone into playing with parallel realities. And I, similar to you, also teaching manifestation and quantum manifestation, I have been teaching that it's about embodying the energy first. So I'm sure you teach the same. But what the parallel realities has done is it's allowed me to embody that. It's to truly
Mm-hmm.
understand that instead of it
Mm-hmm.
being a concept that I understand, and this is alchemy. And this is why I personally use the word alchemy often, because it's what I've experienced is being able to understand something conceptually. So for many, many years, I read many, many books. I did all the courses. I was teaching, starting to teach, let's say, being a spiritual teacher. But there is the understanding, and then there is the embodiment. And that's being activated and just feel, and that's energy shifting. That's energy shifting. And we all have access to it. So if anyone is listening to this, there is not some magical
Password.
gift that exactly that only I have. We're all connected. We all have access to it. And I think what's happening now, which is so exciting, is that the energies are shifting. And I believe that as humanity, we're all having more and more access and ability to tap into these energies. So it's for everyone. It's here for everyone.
Beautiful. It is. I mean, definitely everyone is awakening at their own time, and we are seeing like an accelerated awakening, if you may. I feel that I'm a different person every day, and I cannot recognize myself yesterday. It sounded weird, I know,
Yeah.
but that's basically how I felt. Like, and the shift could happen like in seconds. Like the other day, um, I was in, where was I? I was just walking past my house, and there was, we have like this, what do you call it? Like just a container to where the running water is flowing down, because we want to, what do you call that thing, to keep the
A
water?
drain, a tank, a drain,
Yeah, a tank, I
a
guess.
bucket.
Yeah, but anyway, so the water was like dripping, like just like dripping a little bit, and then I could see like ripples on the water, and then suddenly I saw like crystalline light on the water, and then the way I see the water is like, oh my god, there's like crystalline energy, there is sparkles of God in the water. And that happened, and I
Oh,
was like, wow. And then I snapped out of it, and I was like, why are you looking at, it's just water. Like that
wow.
3D mind is just like, nope, it's just water. But obviously, in that split second, I was like, oh my god. And then it occurred to me, like, this is exactly, what people call heaven on earth is here now. Like, it is not seeking somewhere. Like, I can see the water as crystalline light and sparkles of God. And that moment, I was like, oh, what a great time to be alive. And then the question is, how long can I stay in that moment before my mind come in, right? But this is a constant process, right? So we kind of shifting in and out, and it's okay. And you will come to a point where we are more in aligned with spirit than not, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's, if someone wants to practice parallel reality, if someone's listening to this and going, how do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
One, exactly what you said now. And I know that for you, it happened without the intention of it happening. You just saw it, and there it was, which is beautiful.
But it
But
was because of all the years of work I have done before that.
exactly. And it's something that I can relate to because I now go out into my garden and I just
Mm-hmm.
look at the trees and the plants, and I now can see the energy before I see the reality, let's say, before I see the actual trees.
Yes.
And but that is something that you can also start practicing. So you can go and stand in your garden and you can just be there and just connect to the energy. And you can ask, you can literally ask and say, I would love to start seeing the energy, seeing the frequency. And really all it
Mm-hmm.
is that you're doing is you're connecting into what I call the energy of pure love, the
Mm-hmm.
quantum, the energetic field is,
Mm-hmm.
it's here. In essence, we are all energy. And it's just slowly tapping into that energy and allowing it in. And then, because we're always connected. It's just our level of awareness to that connection. And then just having moments of gratitude. So whether you see things, whether you hear things, whether you feel things, whenever you are receiving or understanding that this is a message from your soul's intelligence, from God, from spirit, from the universe, is acknowledge it, trust it, say thank you for it. Don't just flip back into the mind. Give yourself that little bit of space of awe and wonder. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's those little moments of gratitude that are so much more powerful than the thank you at the end of the day when you're journaling. It's like in the moment, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the more that you do that, the more you will just naturally be connected without trying.
Beautifully put. It's also like muscle training, like the more you do that, it becomes your default. And then you don't even have
Yes.
to, as you say, you don't have to try anymore. But it's such a great advice for those who want to start to tap into this by setting the intention, because that's pretty much the first step. And so coming back to this tapping into the most powerful version of you, I guess, in parallel reality. And how has that shifted for you in terms of how it teaches you as well as your clients when it comes to manifesting? I think we have kind of covered it earlier, but if you know, like, but
Yes,
specifically to manifestation, did you see anything that shifted drastically?
in my reality. Yeah. I wouldn't say drastically. I would say, so number one, my relationship with my husband,
Mm-hmm.
definitely a deepening. And we weren't unhappy
Mm-hmm.
before, but it's just this peace level of comfort and seeing each other and understanding each other and just being in each other's energy in a very beautiful way. In terms of my business, so after tapping into the parallel realities, I'm just going to connect quickly in like within myself, connecting into that experience. What's happened is that that me, who is me, I'm now showing up as her because I experienced her. And what's happened is that it feels as if my ability to support my clients has just skyrocketed. So
Mm-hmm.
my intuitional psychic gifts, and I've called myself a psychic business mentor for a long time. So
Mm-hmm.
I have been using my intuition and my psychic gifts to support my clients for a long time. But now it's almost like they don't have to say anything. It's like I'm
Mm-hmm.
messaging them before they've even messaged me and sharing something with them, and they're like, how did you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so my clients are getting the benefit of a more tapped in, tuned in me. That's the one thing. So it's really supporting them in their own businesses. And then the second thing is that I have much more physical energy. So in my physical body, I'm much more, I have much more energy and I can stay up later. I have
Mm-hmm.
many more ideas coming in. I'm downloading programs and I have a little notebook now and it's like, oh, right now I have 3 or 4 programs that I'm wanting to launch
Mm-hmm.
and it's just, it's incredible. And clients come in without me having to post and all of those beautiful things as well. So from a reality perspective, what's actually happening in my physical reality is more clients, happier husband, happier home, and
Happy
just
Nikki.
a happier Nikki. Yes, yeah,
Beautiful. Brings so much joy for me just listening to that. So for those of you who are listening, that is totally possible for you too, you know. And so you pretty much summarize what's happening. And I just want to kind of add on from what I'm hearing is I'm also hearing what sounded like time collapses, like time speed up, like you could achieve in human terms, you could achieve less. No, you could achieve more while doing less. It's like what took maybe 1 day to do, you could do it in less than a day or maybe even 1 hour. Who knows? Because it's already done. It really is beautiful. And personally, when it comes to manifestation, but you know, like let's call it like the old way of manifestation. Again, they are beautiful and it works. It still works. It just doesn't work as well for me now. But that the old way of manifestation is when I say that, I mean like the typical way where you sit and you visualize what you want and you
yes,
go to as much details and you script it down and you write it down. And I believe most of us have our fair experience with that because it was so famous, right? And I personally didn't have much success with that. And also, I didn't feel good doing that because first, it felt very hard to believe. Second, it felt just like forceful. For me, the main resistance there is it felt almost like I'm trying way too hard because, I'm trying to visualize something versus when I was working with timeline or parallel reality where I'm kind of dropping into what already exists rather than trying to create, if that makes sense. So for those of you who are wondering again, what is this quantum manifesting and how is it different than the manifestation, it, then that I would say is my personal experience the biggest difference because it's not about forcing or trying and pushing, but rather is dropping into, as you say, reality that it's already done. It exists right here, right now. Literally, as I speak, there are multiple me who are doing something else, and I can tap into that, and they can drop in, and I am them, and they are me. So that's like the major difference, and it is that is. I mean, if I could sum it up with one word, is that is that makes like all of the difference. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, exactly, exactly. You've said that so beautifully, and that's exactly what I have felt and experienced. Is I call it old school manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
Old school manifestation is very much connected to the visualizing, to which I love. I love visualizing, but it's just a slight tweak, a slight
Yep.
difference. When you're visualizing something outside of you. With parallel realities, it is you.
Mm-hmm.
And just that little tweak creates a massive, massive difference because it is here. It is a reality. And when you open up to that, so I believe all we need to do is open up to the idea of it and we can experience it. So now, everyone who's listening, just open up to the idea of it. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
Just that opening up to, okay, these realities already exist, they are already here. Then, and you can ask to experience your parallel realities while you're dreaming. When you experience them, number one, you'll feel the difference between that and a dream, but it's not a visualization.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. You may see it, but it's more of a being than it is a seeing. It's so juicy.
I know. Something I think we can talk about whole day long. And if you may, I would say probably it's just slightly more feminine energy. If, for those of you who just want to put a word, because I know that while we are on this journey, we still have a lot of trying want to know from our mind. That there is that level of us that is still wanting to know. Then if I were to categorize it, just think of it like leaning into your feminine a little bit more. Forget about the labeling so much. Like it's great understanding what you understand from today, and it's great information, great insight. But at the end, it's your experience that counts. Like it doesn't matter. We can talk about this for 5 days, but it still means nothing if you don't experience it. And again, you can experience it like by first setting intention, as Nikki say, just simple thing like I'm open to this possibility of my parallel reality, as simple as that. And just be more in the present moment, like keep coming back into the now, because that's the only time that is happening. Like there is no future, there is no past, there's only now. Your past happened because of the now, your future happened because of the now. So the more you can drop into the present moment, in the here and now, using whatever technique for you, maybe it's breathing exercise, maybe it's grounding, maybe it's just simply saying I'm here and now, you know the easier it is for you to tap into that. And as we start to kind of come to a close to this, I also understand that you are currently running a new program called I'm a Leader. So tell me more about
Yes.
that juicy program.
Well, actually, I'm going to change that. I am running I'm a Leader, and I'm a Leader is juicy, and it's still in the pipeline of my
It is
parallel
parallel
realities.
shifting. I am a
But
leader is parallel shifting too. So
it is, it
quantum
is.
leaping right
I'm
there.
going to.
Yeah.
Well, this is exactly it. I've decided that I'm going to run a quantum leaping into parallel realities program first, and then I'm going to lead from there into I'm a
Like,
Leader. It's like, yes, obviously that makes sense.
oh, what a beautiful circle. Like, who knows? Right? Mm,
Yeah. So I don't have a landing page up or anything ready, but if anyone wants to find out more, they can find me on Facebook,
perfect.
on Instagram as well. Just Nicky Hartel. I'll pop up somewhere.
Yeah, maybe it should pop up in your dream or something. Just keep a
Yeah,
lookout.
exactly.
Oh, so excited for your new program as well as. So, for those of you who are listening right now, you don't have to wait till the new program. You already have the ability to listen to her meditation that already exists, which I'm gonna pop them down in the link. And then, if you connect with Nikki and follow Nikki on social, then obviously you'll be updated when the new program is ready. And who knows, you might just parallel shift, if that's a word. And if that happened to you, you caught a glimpse of anything, we want to know. Either send a message to Nikki or me on Instagram or wherever you found us and send us a message. And we will love to hear and celebrate with you. So, with that, is there any last parting words you want to say to all our listeners today?
To the listeners, you are already magical. It is your most natural state of being, that is your most powerful state of being. So just trust in the magic of who you already are. And to you, thank you so much for connecting with me, for reaching out, for having me in your space, in your world, and trusting me to be on your show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a real joy.
Likewise, thank you so much, Nikki. You have brought so much wisdom and joy and activation because those of you who are listening, you have heard me saying this hundred and time that it's not just the words that we are bringing to you, it's the energy. We see the energy, we feel the energy first before we hear the words, whether we realize it or not. So with that, we both send you lots and lots of love and stay healthy, happy, and joyful. See you around.